Got different, right? I'm gonna get a hair.
Go. Good afternoon and welcome to the November 30th, 2016 Legal and Finance meeting. And we will have roll call and determination of quorum. Here. Thank you. And now for the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now on to general public comment. Let's see. And we have no general public comment speakers. I don't see anybody in the audience, so I will close that and we'll move on to consent items, item 1 through 12. And I believe that Mr. Lorente wants to pull a few.
Thank you, Chair. It would be just a few. Items 2, 3, 5, 8, 10, 11, 12.
Thank you very much. So I would like a motion to approve item 1, 4, 6, 7, and 9.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So now we are into public comment for items 1 through 12. I have no speakers for 1 through 12, so I will open and close that. We'll move on to item 2 from the Fire Department. Approve request to purchase fire apparatus through National Joint Powers Alliance in the amount of $344,793. And Mr. Lorente, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question for our representative from the Fire Department. Absolutely. I just want to, it wasn't listed on the agenda item, so it's a very simple question, which is this budgeted in the 2017 budget, 2016 budget?
This is actually coming out of the Wildland Fund. That fund is set aside so that any money that comes in from wildland deployments around the nation that we go on, so this money is coming from the Wildland Fund.
So there will not be a supplemental for this purchase?
Correct.
There,
It'll be, well, maybe Pauline can help out there.
thank you. Pauline, if you would, please.
Thank you. This is the fund that we don't typically actually approve a budget for when we are approving all the other budgets, because we never know what calls will go on for the wildland where we'll get reimbursed. And so anything that gets paid out of wildland funds actually will be supplemented into the budget, so the budget authority is there. But we usually have either the cash on hand or the revenue coming back in from the reimbursements for those that are fighting those fires.
One question for you, follow up then. So the funding source is not known at this point? That's what I'm hearing?
No, there's cash in the fund. You can correct me, but we're pretty much done with the heavy fire season. We do have some people, I think, deployed a little bit right now, but the heavy fire season is done. We've received reimbursements. The cash is in the bank.
For the entire purchase?
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lorente.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 3, authorize staff to purchase one Demurus Type 3 MX 152E Sprinter 3500 for $149,900 using HGAC by contract pricing. And Mr. Lorente, you have the floor again.
I'm not sure who would get this question. Public Works, possibly? No? Is there anybody from staff to answer the question as to whether this is budgeted?
Item 3.
Item 3, oh, it's fire again. Sorry, if you could answer that question for me, sir. Is this budgeted? Where is this, the funding source for this?
The funding source is coming out of our ambulance enterprise fund, and the cash is in the bank, and so this will be a cash purchase.
Very good. Motion, well, I can't make the motion. Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 5, approve FY 2017 Allied Arts Funding Allocation for Community Investments, Arts and Humanities. Mr. Lorente, do you want the floor again?
Thank you, Chair. This is something I really never got to speak about, and many of us speak about during the budget. However, I wanted to take the opportunity to begrudgingly approve this because we did approve it in the FY17 budget. But I just wanted to pull this item to make my comments, which I typically do during budget time, which is that when we are struggling to, I should say there are fights to get public safety and obviously being on the council for as long as I have up to this point, we are not funding infrastructure to the level that we should. Do I believe arts and these types of investments are important? Absolutely. As a lifelong, I shouldn't say lifelong, but since I was a child, being a singer myself and raising my kids playing violin, I believe arts and humanities, things that we're funding, are important, but I just don't believe it's the role of government when, especially, we are not funding our infrastructure and public safety near to the level that it needs to be. And I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Lorente. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, approve resolution number 2016-090, approving Civic Center position title and compensation grade changes. Mr. Lorente, you have the floor again.
Thank you, Chair, and I don't think we have staff here to answer this question. We do? If you could, sir, please, if you could approach the podium. That's right, I did see you downstairs, so I appreciate you being here.
No problem.
If you could, my question for you on this, and I read through both items, the minutes from the board, the Civic Center board, and the attached resolution. What I would like to know is if there was an overall increase or decrease based on these new funding requirements for these different positions and the reclassification thereof, some of them.
So for the reclassifications, that would be a no, not at all. There would be for the additional FTE that we're asking for. That is something that creating the efficiencies in our operations department between engineering and maintenance and having accountability to managers in that area, we're expecting to make up for that in the part-time crews that we hire.
Okay, so there's full-time positions that we're eliminating, or?
We're not eliminating, well, it says we're eliminating some positions, but those are title changes. The title changes are the first 4 that are listed up there. Those are actually no changes in salary, they're just title changes.
Okay.
And then the last 2 are where the changes are. One's an additional FTE and one's raising a level of grade.
Okay, very good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lorente. Alderwoman Modrick, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Then I want to just clarify, and maybe you know this answer better than I do since I'm new on board, but on number 9, which we approved the resolution for the added full-time equivalent positions for 2017. Does that make our enterprise funds decision separate from the one that we approved on number 9 today? And I wouldn't know who to ask on that one. Should I ask Pauline? Okay. Pauline?
No, in fact, you'll see in that resolution that was approved in number 9 that some of those also include the extra FTEs that were approved for the enterprise funds. Mm-hmm. What is different about this, number 1, is that they have a board, an independent board. Mm-hmm. However, I'm assuming, and Craig can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is being added now and was not part of the 2017 budget process. So that's why the authorization for the extra FTE is needed for them now.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alderwoman Modrick. Do we have a motion? We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Item 11, authorize mayor and finance officer to sign contract for construction of public improvements through private developer tax increment district number 78 between Yasmin Dream LLC and the city of Rapid City. Number 11. Oh, I missed number 10. Excuse me, we'll go back to number 10. Number 10, authorize the mayor and finance officer to sign the professional services agreement with Felsberg, Holt, and Yulvig Incorporated for the transit feasibility study in an amount not to exceed $130,000. And Mr. Lorente, you have the floor again.
Well, I had a question for somebody in transit, but. All right. Mr. Tech, if I could, Chair. Mr. Tech, on this particular item, my question to you is there a, because we have federal funds involved with transit feasibility, I mean the transit itself, is there a requirement for these feasibility studies, and how often is there a requirement based on receiving those funds, or is this just something we do periodically as a policy within the city?
This is something that's done periodically. As the need arises, the city will do these types of study. We're not required or mandated by federal law to do these types of studies. However, in the best interest of providing good service and to look to the future, long-range planning and transportation, we do these studies from time to time.
So, and I'm thinking about what we did this last budget. We're not charging quite a few previous customers, which is going to affect is this related to that, knowing we're going to have to raise the rate on? I mean, is there some consideration in this? I'm just wondering why we're doing a feasibility study now. Is it based on, when was the last feasibility study? Maybe I should be asking that question, but.
This isn't necessarily a rate study, but a feasibility study of providing service to other areas of the community.
Okay.
As part of the overall discussion and the cost benefit of providing service to other parts of town, to other high need areas, rates will be discussed. However, this is not specifically just a rate study.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lorente. And do we have a motion? We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Now on to 11. Authorize mayor and finance officer to sign contract for construction of public improvements through private development tax increment district number 78 between Yasmin Dream LLC and the city of Rapid City. Mr. Lorente, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And I assume, I guess maybe Pauline, if I could ask the finance officer a question. Is this been corrected? Do we have everything in line now? I know we had continued this. So that question, if you could answer that.
Sure. I met with Hanny and his banker yesterday, and the information that I come back with is a 5.5% interest rate, which, considering our past agreements, is reasonable as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you very much. I yield.
We need a second. I believe I can second this since he won't. So we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? And I will break the tie with an aye. Thank you. Item 12, approve resolution of 2016-099, corrective addendum to resolution of vacation of the section line right-of-way for property generally described as southeast of the intersection of Sheridan Lake Road and Wildwood Drive, and this is going to be continued to the next Legal and Finance meeting, I believe. Do I have that motion?
I'll make the motion to continue it for 2 weeks to the next Legal and Finance meeting.
And do we? Thank you. So we have that motion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. That's the end of the consent calendar. We're on to non-consent items 13 through 20. And I have one speaker request form from, I believe it's Albert Johnson. Mr. Johnson, if you'd like to speak on this.
I'm Elbert Johnson. I represent the Church of Christ located at 1529 West Boulevard North, which is affected by the proposed change here on the change of address of West Boulevard North to Nickel Street. I come representing the church. We've been there for 47 years, and this is quite a change for us, and it's a rather exciting one, too. It's going to change the flow of traffic with the traffic flowing from the new interchange, and that's going to become our primary direction of traffic instead of trying to work their way in through Anamosa or Silver Street exits. It's going to be, if this street is renamed to Nickel Street, which we support fully, it's going to make a wonderful flow coming from the interchange right past our building. So although there'll be some changes, it's been, like I said, it's been a long time. It's time for changes, and it's going to be make some corrections that perhaps should have been made many years ago, but the planners thought the best as they could at that time. So our position here as we come here today is say thank you for the planning and their concepts and thoughts in that, and we support it fully as proposed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. So that closes the non-consent or the public comment section. I have no one else that wants to speak. So we'll close that and we'll go on to item 13. Under Mayor's items, approve 2017 Vision Fund recommendations presented by the Citizen Committee. And I don't know if we have the Citizen Committee here today, but I suppose we will have them Monday night. Don't see them. Oh, okay. Okay. So do we have a motion? Oh, Alderwoman Modrick, you can have the floor.
Thank you, Chair.
I make a motion to move this to the next council meeting without recommendation.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor to move to council without recommendation. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 14 from Community Planning and Development. Approve resolution number 2016-094, a resolution for road name change for a portion of North 11th Street and West Boulevard North to Nickel Street. And it looks like we're going to have a presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Brad.
Chairman Roberts, thank you. I'm Brad from Development Services, and the city engineering department presented a road name change application for your consideration. And what it is if you look at the map here, this is an older map, but there's two sections of West Boulevard North. There's one on the east side of I-190, and there's also a section on the west side of I-190. But for the, because of the DOT is changing this intersection down here, DOT has extended this road down here like that to Philadelphia Street. So there's an unnamed section of road that's new, and it connects to a section that's West Boulevard North. And really, the goal is here, along with the construction at the interchange, is to eliminate that section of West Boulevard North and change it to something else. Well, in harmony with some of the other road names in the vicinity, Nickel Street was chosen a couple of years ago, and it would extend all the way up to Blue Jay up here. See? There's 4 affected. One of them is the city, and that's too bad for the city. They'll have to change the address of their yard waste site at Anamosa Street if they have an address up there. But there's the church, and there are 2 other properties in the vicinity here, residential properties. We notified them twice. The first notification, I did get a response from one of them. They were opposed to it in the aspect of they wanted it named Harmony Heights Lane down to Anamosa Street, which is here. And that's not what the application is for, so I wanted to present that to you. We're of the opinion that it needs to be changed all the way up to Blue Jay to Nickel Street, because if we call it Harmony Heights Lane down to Anamosa Street, there's going to be an east-west section of Harmony Heights Lane and a north-south section, which makes it tricky for addressing now and in the future. So the application is to change it, the name of the new, or name the new section of right-of-way down by the interchange and the rest of West Boulevard North on the west side of I-190 to Nickel Street.
Thank you, Brad. I don't think we have any questions from, yes, we do. Alderwoman Modrick, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to ask Brad a question.
You may.
Yeah, on so many of our streets from long ago, we have the streets they're named and then they butt up against each other with the new name, and it does create some signage as well as some GPSing issues. We've got Fairmont and Cathedral, and we have Fifth Street, and that goes down, to Haynes, and so those are the problems that end up happening down the road. And on this one here, if it's cut off at Blue Jay, I mean, literally, it is still the same road going all the way up Harmony Heights. There's really no reason for division. There's not a stop sign or anything that indicates you're now crossed the line over to a new street.
No, but there is the intersection of Blue Jay, and there's a street sign there now at Blue Jay. So that would be the logical place to put the sign that you're talking about, where it would say Harmony Heights is this way, Nickel Street is this way, or whatever the street name is to the south. Yeah, it's one of those tricky spots that we run into. It's that way now, because it's West Boulevard North now. So it's not going to change the situation of what you're describing, but it'll just change the road name. And you're right, the city will have to go out there and change some of the street signs. I would assume that some of the signs down at the construction area at the interchange would be part of DOT's, plan. But yeah, we'd have to live with what's going to happen if that's what it is.
And do you know if beyond Harmony Heights, will it ever have a connector that goes all the way over and onto the other side of that mountain ridge?
Actually, there is a short section of Harmony Heights Lane on the other side of the hill, and so yes, in the long range plan that road will connect, and so it would go from Blue Jay to it must be Plaza Boulevard on the other side.
Okay. And you do recommend the separation of change?
Yes, like this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Modrick. We have a motion? We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 15, approve resolution number 2016-095, a resolution for road name change from Philadelphia Street to North Street. Do you want, that's just that end piece, correct?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Roberts. Yes, that one, we don't have any affected parties, so if that one can just get approved, and then the best thing about that is North Street's going to be the throughway from, Founders Park Drive all the way over to East Boulevard North. So that'll.
Thank you very much. We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item 16, second reading and resolution of ordinance number 6148 regarding supplemental appropriation number 5 for 2016. Don't have any speakers. Can I get a motion? Motion approved. Have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Item 17, approve resolution number 2016-096, a resolution adopting a conflict of interest policy for elected and appointed officials. Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second, and Alderwoman Modrick, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question for legal, for Joel, if I could. We're just aligning this with what the state code had become. It's just making the correction on our side so that we align with the state code?
Yes, in part. After the Gear Up issue, the state now requires that as part of any state funding or grants that we have a conflict of interest policy. So this is in response to that requirement. However, in order to develop the policy, we kind of went back just to the state law, and we're just incorporating state law. So a lot of these provisions were already applicable to you as a public board. But I think now we have a little more of an affirmative duty to make sure you understand and that we provide this to everyone. So I know you just got the draft. If you want to take it to council Monday night, maybe without recommendation, they give you more of a time to review it. I also need to review it some more just to make sure we understand and where we need to be at.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And if I can get a motion? Did you make a motion to approve, or did you? Okay, all right. So we have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 18, introduction and first reading of ordinance 6149, an ordinance to revise the calculation for the utility rate relief program by amending sections 13.08.43C and 13.16.360E of the Rapid City Municipal Code. Have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 19, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6150, an ordinance to revise the late fees applied to utility bills by amending section 13.08.470 and 13.08510 and 8.08.070 of the Rapid City Municipal Code.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Item 20, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 6151, an ordinance to repeal the rebate program for appliance and fixture installation by deleting section 13.08.495 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. Have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.